The legend of Annabelle, the infamous doll investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, spread across the globe. After they became the first paranormal experts allowed access to the case files and the infamous Amityville house back in the 1970s. Since then, many of the Warrens' investigations have made their way to the big screen, including the haunting of the Perron family portrayed in James Wan's The Conjuring. That movie opens with a chilling sequence featuring Annabelle, the doll who would eventually become the focus of her own spin-off series. Even before The Conjuring 2 came out in 2015 with its own terrifying tale, The Enfield Poltergeist. But Annabelle wasn't just another doll possessed by some spooky spirit. Ed and Lorraine Warren believed she was the most dangerous object they had ever come into contact with. And that includes items linked to satanic rituals, witchcraft, black magic, and even religious relics corrupted by evil energy, according to the curator of the Warrens' Occult Museum. Annabelle has proven deadly. In fact, at least one death is believed to be directly connected to her. The true origins of Annabelle are murky. But her first documented appearance was in 1970 in Connecticut. A young nursing student named Donna received the doll as a gift from her mother. Some say it was for her birthday, others say Christmas, or even graduation. Whatever the reason, Donna's mom found it in an antique shop, a handmade rag doll, just like the ones Donna loved. This type of doll, known as a raggedy, and was created in the early 1900s by Johnny Gruelle for his daughter Marcella, who tragically passed away not long after. For decades, it was one of the most popular toys in the U.S. Even today, it's considered an American icon. Donna was thrilled with the gift. She kept the doll on her bed, where it sat quietly, at first. But slowly, things began to change. She started noticing that the doll would be in a different position when she came home. At first, she thought she might just be imagining it. But the movements became more noticeable. Donna could leave the room for seconds and return to find its arms or legs positioned differently. Within days, both Donna and her roommate Angie were convinced something strange was happening. They find the doll leaning against chairs, lying on the floor, sometimes halfway down the hall, like it had been walking and froze when they opened the door. So they tested it. They left the doll in Donna's room, then went out. When they came back, it was on the living room couch, arms crossed like it was annoyed. The next day, they left it in the living room. When they returned, the doll was back in Donna's room, door closed. Frightened, they told their friend Lou. The moment he saw the doll, he said something was wrong. Very wrong. Soon after, notes started appearing around the apartment. "Help us," some said. Others read, "Help Lou." The handwriting looked like a child's. But no one knew who they were referring to or what they meant. Even more disturbing, the notes were written in pencil on old parchment paper, but there was no parchment in the apartment, and they couldn't find the pencil either. The girls weren't totally convinced. Maybe someone was playing a prank? So they placed tiny marks on the windows and doors. But nothing was ever disturbed. The only thing that kept moving was the doll. Still, they weren't sure it was evil. That Christmas, they found a tiny chocolate boot on their table. Neither of them had brought it. They started thinking maybe the doll left it there, but things got worse. One day, a porcelain figurine lifted into the air, floated across the room, and dropped to the floor. The breaking point came a week later. They returned home from work and found the doll in Angie's room. But this time, something felt different. When Angie turned on the light, she saw blood on the doll's chest and hands. That's when they called a medium. She arrived, entered a trance, and claimed to connect with the spirit of a little girl, 6 or 7 years old. Her name was Annabelle Higgins. Some versions say she was hit by a car outside their apartment. But Donna later clarified that the girl said she used to play in a field long before the apartment complex was built. The medium couldn't say how the girl died, but she believed it was sudden and violent. The spirit felt drawn to the girls because they were nurses, caregivers. She claimed she only wanted love, to stay with them. Inside the doll, the girls were touched. They agreed. And from that moment on, they called the doll Annabelle. But that choice would soon become the biggest mistake of their lives, because the nightmare had only just begun. Living with Annabelle became normal, or at least they tried to pretend it was. Lou, however, was convinced. The doll was evil. He begged Donna to get rid of it, but she refused. To her, abandoning the doll would be like abandoning a child. And Annabelle didn't like Lou. She must have sensed his doubts. And she wasn't happy, even though Lou feared her. Nothing could have prepared him for the night Annabelle followed him home.